So welcome back to Decoy Noise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist? And am I the antagonist for freaking out over a nickname? So in another episode of Furloughed Decoy Noise, where I'm giving myself a new tattoo every day, drop in the comments where I should put it. I'm letting my hair get messy, facial hair become patchy. So if you want to see me descend into madness, make sure you subscribe down below. Let me know what subscriber count you are, because I want to see how I'm growing with the whole 2 video a day thing going on. And also, let me know where I'm going to put a tattoo on my face and my body where I don't have anywhere to go. Because, yeah, this is a different situation. Let's make a positive from a negative. So let's just get into the post right now. So, my 4-year-old is called Winifred Rose. We call her Rosie, or much less often, Freddie. She's named after my husband's grandmother, and I love the meaning behind the name, Blessed Peacemaking. Okay, that's pretty. I don't know why, but my mother-in-law has taken to calling her Win-Win, and I just cringe at that. I absolutely hate it, and she doesn't react to being called that at all. So my mother-in-law will sit there screeching, Win-Win, Win-Win, and my daughter doesn't react at all. I asked her several times to stop calling her that. I hate it. Okay. Well, we were on Skype with her earlier, and she just kept repeating win-win to get my daughter's attention. No luck. I asked her to stop, and she keeps on. So I snapped and said, stop, or start calling you something you don't like, shall I? Call back when you learn my daughter's name. Oh, no. She hasn't called back. Didn't even call to wish Rosie a happy birthday. I almost said win-win. My husband thinks I was overly harsh for freaking out over something so small and is super moody at the moment. Am I the antagonist? So we can kind of take it a decoy quote right now, which I kind of feel like I'm trying to cover more of these less voted, kind of more controversial ones that we can get some antagonists and not the antagonist threads in there. But I mean, so my knee-jerk reaction is Win-Win is not something I'd want like my child to be named or whatever, and that just seems weird. Like you don't want them to kind of grow up being called Win-Win. I understand, like, you know, the kid names are an endearing thing or whatever, but if she doesn't want her kid to be named Win-Win, then yeah, like, you know, everybody should respect what they name their kid or whatever. Like, honestly, it's I just see Win-Win and I think of Jar Jar. Like, I wouldn't, if I had a cat, I wouldn't want people calling them Jar Jar or whatever, the kid or whatever, Jar Jar. Like, I don't want that to stick. I don't want them to think that that's their name or whatever. Honestly, if I were them, I would just say, hey, look, did you know that Win-Win is like super offensive in some of the language? Like, you're teaching them that or whatever to try to get her not to. But it also says over here that it's like she asked her several times not to call her that, and I hate it, and she keeps on saying it, but she doesn't like learn, and the mom's just trying to make this a thing. Like, stop trying to make win-win a thing. Win-win's not gonna happen. Fetch is not gonna happen. Win-win's not gonna happen. And honestly, the thing is, she tried to communicate it several times, and finally she snapped and said stop and yelled at her or whatever. Yeah, you shouldn't yell at your mother-in-law, your elders, or anybody that you respect or whatever, but it kind of got to the point, like a breaking point or whatever. She's probably stressed out from other things at home and stressed out about, like, you know, all that other stuff. Don't pile on and make new things for me to be upset about. Maybe I'm the antagonist here, but I don't think that she's the antagonist. I think that she's more in her right to keep on communicating. Hey, look, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. I've talked to you like an adult. We've had conversations about this. I've been cool about it. This is the natural progression of things. Like, we don't want to be in a household where everybody's yelling at each other, but I mean, just respect what I'm saying. I don't want you to call my child Win-Win. Don't call my child Win-Win. So there's my 2 cents. Also, I want you guys to give your replies down below so I can make a video on read the decoy coy voice replies, which is very hard to read, but I want to know what the decoy coy are saying, give you guys a voice and all the replies. But I mean, let's just get into the thread and see what everybody else is saying. So the first person says, you're the antagonist for your reaction. That was an insane overreaction. Your daughter doesn't know it's supposed to be her nickname yet. Doesn't mean she doesn't like it. I have a feeling you don't exactly love this mother-in-law on the best days, or you wouldn't have reacted this way. Your child is going to have nicknames you don't pick. You gave your child a name that will be shortened. This is really on you. It's very controlling to decide no one can ever call your child anything except what you picked out. This is a very rational and reasonable reply, so I get that. You don't get to choose the nicknames or whatever, and you shouting at your mother-in-law is uncalled for. So you know what? I guess I'm the antagonist for thinking the same thing. But she should have somewhat of a say. Like, hey, look, we're all adults. You're my mother-in-law. Please don't call the child that or whatever. Overreacting, yes. Antagonist, no. But they're saying it is. So I'm open for Different opinions. The next reply: children at 4 years old know what people are saying though. I used a lack of response to show that I didn't like being called something, but also she's a mother and therefore has more jurisdiction over what her daughter can be called, and if the mother-in-law can't respect her wishes, then it's a lack of respect. If it's a case of she doesn't know yet, wait until she's older and ask the kid what she's cool with. Easy peasy, and allows children to learn about boundaries early on. See, that's a more reasonable reply. I'm glad that I had a strong opinion. That first top comment had a strong opinion, and that reply seemed like it was somewhere in the middle ground, so we're having a good dialogue here. And then that person came back to post. The child is typically called Rosie or Freddie. She may not even know her full name is Winfred, so Win-Win would be seen completely out of context. If a child was named Margaret and someone started calling her Becky, she may or may not understand it, or it was meant for it. Doesn't mean she didn't like it, per se. So many times when adults are around, they're not talking to children, so they ignore a lot. My brother has always been called the middle name or Junior because my dad obviously had the same name. He was in first grade when his teacher told him to put his real name on something he did not realize what his real legal name is. This is kind of a weird kind of detraction from that. Like, what are we talking about different names and doing stuff? If anything, I feel like she's arguing on behalf of not calling her Win-Win, but I mean, whatever, let's read on. You're the antagonist for thinking Win-Win is worse name than naming your kid Winifred. And here's the thing, though, is like, Winifred, what is it? Abigail, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of names that, like, our grandfathers were named or whatever, and it's just like, Winifred is a classic name, but we're naming kids now like .com and I don't even know, like Blackfish or whatever. I'm just making stuff up right now, but it's like the new like 2020 generation of names is far more bizarre to me than Winifred or Win-Win or whatever. So I mean, names are names, whatever. Okay. Next reply. Win-Win makes me think of Lavender Brown calling Ron Wan in the 6th Harry Potter book. Total barf. Okay, that's beyond me. I don't really know much about Harry Potter. The next reply is, or One Weg, One Darwin, 1-1 for short of the Game of Thrones books. So here's the thing, is that once you've named your child Winifred and they're naming it Win-Win, you're being compared to names that are in Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, all fictitious things. So I mean, why not have regular names like Tyler? Who knows? I don't know. Also, next reply. It makes me think of Jar Jar Binks. Misa called Win-Win. Misa, your humble servant. The baby talk name makes me cringe. And here's the thing, like I always say before, people like this channel because I am not a robot reader, but maybe I am a robot. Maybe I'm a deep fake and I don't really realize that I'm not a real person because anything that I say will come up in the comment section if I read in long enough, and the whole Jar Jar Binks Win-Win thing is something that I said maybe, like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. So let's get into the next top comment. So you're the antagonist, mildly. You're right on the edge of your kid going to school and starting interactions. So I think you should disabuse yourself of the notion that you can control nicknames your kids get. This situation was more understandable, but in the next few years, your kid is going to start getting and keeping nicknames you don't like, and you can't get mad at people over it. Okay, I get that, where you need to start letting go. Okay, I get that. I have to say that my grandpa has a special nickname for me, and no one else called me that. I still love him for it, even though he's been gone for 15 years. Cool, full stop right there. Maybe this is a thing that, like, you know, your daughter Win-Win and your mother-in-law can have together, where it's like, oh yeah, she calls her Win-Win, and that was just it's a cherished memory they're gonna have, and you're gonna rob them from it because of that. Maybe ask the mother-in-law, did you and your grandma have a special bond or whatever? Maybe this is something that she knows that Win-Win is never gonna catch on, but she wants to have a special connection with her granddaughter. So, like I always say, I like reading these different replies and seeing different, like, you know, views of how life is, because we see stuff like this where it's like, hey, look, the grandpa's special name, and that was something that they're always going to cherish or whatever. Like, that's something I didn't think of. So, you know what? I originally said in decoy court, you're guilty, but you know what? We got to throw that out. We got to throw out that conviction, mistrial, decoy court. This person came up with a different reply that throws out all this stuff I was saying. So, hard to say if it's true or not, but I mean, it's a different way to look at things that I didn't realize. So, next post. That's very sweet. My thought is that this grandma is looking for a special nickname for her grandchild, just between the two of them. Not sure why she freaked out like she did. Completely unnecessary and very sad to drive such a wedge. And like that other person said over there, was the idea that maybe she doesn't like the mother-in-law and she's just using any time to try to get mad at her and use anything she possibly can to yell at her. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe they just don't like each other and Win-Win is just the hill she wants to die on. But next post. You're the antagonist. She needed to be told, just not like that. Stop trying to make Win-Win happen. She doesn't react to it. It's not going to happen. The point's been made, just a little bit of sass. But the thing is, I think that she did tell her and communicate to her on several occasions before saying she doesn't like Win-Win. Stop calling her Win-Win. And then it just kind of finally built up to it, where she was probably just sitting there, Win-Win, 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 Win. And she was like, you know, like she's at home, she's stressed out, and it blew up or whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody kind of takes things out of proportion, blows things out of proportion. So, I mean, it makes sense for that reply to get there. Is she an antagonist for that reply? Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's understandable. But like I always said, let's get to some controversial comments because that's where I like to read the most. So, top controversial comment, not the antagonist. You didn't come at your mother-in-law the first, second, third, fourth, etc. time this happened. You literally asked her 1,000,000 times and nothing worked. You were standing your ground. Now it's time for her to get over it and call back. And in the future, if she calls you that name, you do what you said and start calling her something and have your daughter call her too. Grandma craptastic or something like that. Taste of her own medicine. And here's the thing is, just the idea that she's that's a controversial reply. I had the same controversial knee-jerk reaction where it's like, hey, look, I tried to communicate to you like an adult. I tried to tell you that I didn't like it. You didn't listen. So now we're going to get in a shouting match. Now we're going to be childish towards each other or whatever. So I don't really believe in the fighting fire with fire thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to start calling you Grandma Craptastic or whatever. But it's like, maybe that's the only way to get your message across. But let's look at the reply at that. Some of you have a lot of growing up to do. And honestly, I do have a lot of growing up to do. If I had the same knee-jerk response as the top controversial comment, yeah, maybe I'm immature. But you know what? I'm willing to own up to that. And the next reply is, or some of us just don't put up with other people's crap longer than we have to. Been there, done that, learned a new way of doing things. And the one thing I'll say is with family, it's different. Like, you know, you can cut off people, friends, people that are just not like, you know, you don't get along with. But family, mother-in-law, that's going to be someone that's got to be around for a long time. So there's got to be a happy middle ground to meet on. So I get everybody's perspective on this. But let's read another controversial comment. Not the antagonist. Your daughter doesn't even react to it. Clearly, she doesn't like it either. Your mother-in-law is overstepping as the mother. You have every right to tell her not to use a nickname you don't approve of. Okay. And the next reply is, giving a child a nickname is not overstepping at all. I agree she should have stopped, but OP's reaction is a reason you're the antagonist. Okay, so I mean, I feel like everybody has a good perspective on this. Like, no one's like going crazy on this or whatever, but you know, the nickname situation, it's up to debate. So I understand that it's a good lively debate, but I mean, like I always say, I want to know your guys' replies or whatever on the subject matter. Tell me what you think it is, if I'm wrong, if I'm right, if these people are right, or if you guys are all going to start calling me Win-Win instead of Decoy. That'd be kind of messed up. But I mean, also let me know. I'm not doing anything. I don't have anywhere to be, so I can put tattoos anywhere in my body right now. Let me know where it should be. Should it be on my neck, on my face, on my nose, on my hands, whatever it may be. Let me know in the comments below. But obviously, like I say every single video, if you made it this far, make sure you subscribe down below. Let me know what subscriber number you are, because it helps me track the growth, especially with the whole 2 video a day thing while I'm furloughed and looking for something to do with my time. Check out that video over there. But yeah, let me know how you found the channel. That's one thing I want to know. Let me know how you found the channel and how I'm growing right there, because that would help me out as well. But thanks for stopping by and hope to see you next time.